We're talking about some cool stuff today, but rather than introduce it myself, I'll pass it off to my good friend Biggie Smalls.
Hello, Cadence. Today we're going to talk about polytonality in rap music.
So this video is going to be relatively short, but I thought it was too interesting of an idea to pass up entirely. A short while ago, I was scrolling on Instagram and found this tune playing under a picture of Squidward crying in bed listening to music. I don't really want to spoil it, so I guess I'll play the first part of it. Let's listen.
Ayo, Babs, this shit crazy. I gave you my all. Baby, why did you return to sender? Broke my heart just like a fender bender. Tore it up and threw it in the blender. I gave you my all.
Now I know what you're thinking. My videos have jumped the shark, but hear me out. Yes, the vocals are in a completely different key from the beat, and it doesn't necessarily sound pleasant. But what we're going to talk about today is how and why the vocals are in a different key. I think it's important to remember that music theory isn't about what's good or bad, only what's happening and why. So let's talk polytonality. Polytonality is simply when more than one key center is heard at the same time, which requires multiple melodic voices to be playing at once. So for instance, I'll play two examples, one where both parts are in the same key, and one where it's polytonal. Let's listen.
Sayonara, 僕の自尊心とプライドごめんなさいカスと散歩情けないSayonara, 僕の自尊心とプライドごめんなさいカスと散歩情けない
The second one sounds whack, but why? I don't fully understand the science of it, but from what I understand, we can neither focus on more than one key center at once, nor can we even separate them when heard at the same time. This results in a sort of cognitive dissonance, where the brain wants to hear both parts with the appropriately transposed other part at the same time. So let's go back to Letter to My Crush. Our melody is in F sharp minor, while the beat is in C minor. To prove that the melody isn't just atonal nonsense, I've transposed the instrumental up to F sharp minor. Let's listen to both.
Ayo, Babs, this shit crazy. I gave you my all. Baby, why did you return to sender? Broke my heart just like a fender bender. Tore it up and threw it in the blender. I gave you my all. Crazy. I gave you my all. Baby, why did you return to sender? Broke my heart just like a fender bender. Tore it up and threw it in the blender. I gave you my all. Baby, why did you return to sender? Broke my heart just like a fender bender. Tore it up and threw it in the blender. I did anything I could for you.
I think it's important to realize Lilmar's intent. If it was intended to be some grating, flippant, atonal SoundCloud meme, he could have very easily just sang some random atonal stuff out of key, put the beat under it, and called it a day. But I find it really interesting that apart from a few bluesy or otherwise just, I guess, out of tune notes, it's all entirely in F sharp minor, which, at least to me, indicates that he sang it as such deliberately. Further lending credence to this theory is the fact that both keys are a tritone apart, mathematically the furthest the two keys could possibly be from each other, only sharing two common tones. So I guess the question is, why? With a tinge of irony, I could say something like, oh, the polytonality is there to demonstrate the pain he feels, etc., but I don't really think that's the actual reason. From an artistry standpoint, I think it's a little bit more meta. The polytonality gets people talking about it, and at least for me, it worked. But at the same time, there is a level of deliberation that I think needs to be appreciated. Ironic SoundCloud rap has been showing up on my feed a lot in the past few months, and while a lot of these tunes elicit a chuckle, almost all of them employ something mostly non-music theory related, whether that be the lyrical content, funny sound effects, or anything else. While presumably ironic, one can't help but appreciate that Lilmar thought to use polytonality as a means of making this tune funny. And maybe I'm just going insane from listening to this so much over the past few weeks, but it's kind of low-key a banger. It almost feels right for it to be polytonal after the 47th listen today, and conversely feels cursed to hear the pitch-shifted version. Either way, I would argue the polytonality gives the tune its idiosyncratic bite, and just because it's funny doesn't delegitimize the artistry. There is one twist to this video though. Polytonality in rap and hip-hop isn't unprecedented. Let's listen to the hook from the Notorious B.I.G's hit 97 single, Hypnotize.
Come on.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. Guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see?
While similar in concept, I wouldn't say this tune is similar to Letter to My Crush in the slightest. And in fact, if not for this tune, Lilmar would have condemned polytonality in rap to an eternity in meme hell. Let's take a look at our two keys. The vocals, if not for that last A natural, outline the notes of E-flat minor pentatonic. With the A, it gives it more of an E-flat blues scale kind of flavor. The bass and the rest of the track, meanwhile, outline something like E minor. I say something like E minor because for the entire tune, barring this part, the only unique notes we hear are the E and D in the bass vamp and a B in the guitar sample, which comes up every so often. An argument could be made for E mixolydian, but to me it really just sounds like E minor, or even E minor pentatonic or blues. It's not really too important though. The most important thing is that the tune is in some kind of E minorish flavor, while the vocals in this section are in E flat minor-ish. Something to address is the relationship between the two parts as if it were one scale. It does seem at first glance that, using enharmonic spellings for the top part, we might be in some sort of E Lydian dominant rather than a polytonal mega key. The A flat, G flat, and B flat in the top part could be the 3rd, 2nd, and sharp 4 scale degrees in E Lydian respectively. But this really all falls apart right here. This E flat against the previously heard D natural in the bass would give the supposed Lydian dominant scale a flat 7 and natural 7 scale degree, and our mortal ears just can't handle something like that. Classical dweebs would call this a cross relation, but in non-pedantic terms, it's just a no-no scale. Because of this, our ears, surprisingly, more naturally hear this as E-flat blues over E minor. So the biggest way this contrasts from Letter to My Crush, in my opinion, is both the execution and intent. These sections are both the hooks of the respective tunes, but Lilmar sings a more complicated melody, with 7 distinct notes over a beat with more complex chord progression and chord voicings, along with a melody under his melody. Meanwhile, Biggie cleverly wrote a hook with only 5 distinct notes, but over the most minimal bass line and chord progression possible. What this achieves is a kind of stealth polytonality, where it's kind of hard to even tell it's polytonal even though it definitely is. In terms of intent, contrasting with Lilmar, Biggie played it completely straight. There isn't a sense of irony like there is in Lilmar's tune. Whereas Lilmar probably gave us polytonality for the shock value, because of the subtlety, it's honestly kind of hard to determine why Biggie did it, apart from it sounding cool. Either way, it gives Biggie's tune a certain unique edginess, similar to Letter to My Crush in that regard, albeit without the 2020 memetics. I want to also stress that this video isn't comparing Biggie to Lilmar for the sake of absolutely destroying the latter's career. I'm genuinely just analyzing 2 tunes with thematic similarities and talking about what each accomplishes. And I suppose that's pretty much it. To answer the question in the title of the video, is polytonality a meme? I don't know, maybe. I don't really think it matters. Anything to add, Biggie?
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.
I gave you my all.